What's going on, guys? This is Otis here, and this is Tank Superiority on Alborz Mountains, and this is a really interesting game mode, really good map, how they have it all set up. Basically, what it is right here is you'll have, on Alborz Mountains, you'll have two of the spawn points pretty much right next to each other, side by side, and it's basically just a dead-on sprint down the mountain where you get this fun bouncy ride to the flag in the middle of the lake here. And basically you do have to be careful because there's little spots in this lake where there's actually no ice, and so your tank can fall through. And so you'll see coming up there's a tank destroyer on my left side that actually just zips by everyone. He falls into a hole because he wasn't paying attention, and he's pretty much just stuck out in the middle of the ice, and there he goes, and he falls right in. So the tank destroyers aren't they can't traverse through water pretty much, so you have to watch out for that. I did cut probably a few things out of this gameplay. Basically, what our strategy was just sit near the flag, not on it, and in the middle of the lake, and have for each tank destroyer, what we had one guy just pretty much solely their job was to repair that tank destroyer. And basically what ends up happening, this could probably work for a few days. It's not maybe a long-term tactic, and that's just because once people start unlocking the tow missiles for the tank destroyers, the guided missiles, you're going to pretty much have to do evasive tactics. And so it's only going to work until everyone starts unlocking things at least. And basically another reason why these team ended up losing was because they started coming down one at a time and stuff. And so basically when you have a team already set up at the flag, they're just going to get absolutely demolished right away, and they're not going to have any chance. And it wasn't really until the end where their whole team started coming down at once, and that's definitely something that I would highly recommend doing for tank superiority. Is you got to stay in groups. You got to stay in groups of like 2 or 3 or the whole team even if possible. Basically what it is everyone gets a tank destroyer, except I believe there's 1 or 2 people that wouldn't get a vehicle, and there's also 1 or 2 tanks on each side. I forget. I always jump in the tank destroyers. I'm liking the tank destroyers extremely a lot, pretty much just based on how their maneuverability is and stuff. And so what I was using right here was I was using the heavy machine gun after, because I really didn't have anything unlocked yet. This is only my second game, I believe, in tank superiority, maybe my first, but I believe it was my second. And so basically what it was too, what I was doing is I would shoot towards the tanks. I would switch towards the light machine gun once I thought the guy ran out of the tank, or maybe the guy was repairing. But another thing too that you have to watch out for this gameplay also, if you're on the lake, is with the tank destroyers, when they actually shoot, the tank destroyer moves back a few feet, so that's something you have to watch out for. If you look on the mini map too, you'll see that like darker circle spot there. That's where the lake's not frozen at. And so basically what was happening is as I would shoot, the tank destroyer would slowly get towards the back of the ice. And then what I would have to do is I have to drive up maybe about 10-15 feet and then start firing again. And then after 3 or 4 minutes, you have to start going forward again. So that's something to keep your eye out for too. Don't be too excited capturing the flag right away. I mean, yeah, it's important, but it's not worth putting your tank destroyer, your tank in the middle of the ice and going for a swim, because you're basically just handicapping your team pretty much right away, and that could lead to disaster. Because pretty much what's happened for tank superiority is whoever captures the flag ends up winning the game. And so that's something to keep in mind too. I'm sure it's going to change later on, like I said, once people start unlocking things, once people start knowing more tactics and stuff. And another thing too that at least I've noticed on this map is it's definitely a lot harder to spot people. I don't know if it's because of the trees or whatnot. And then pretty much once the combat starts going towards the later on in the stages, you're going to be able to spot people a little bit more just because the trees are down. Another thing too, once you get used to the actual drop for the tank destroyer, because it doesn't drop too much for your small to medium range, and then for your long distance range, it drops pretty significantly at least. And so that's something that I've noticed before. And that's something you'll have to keep your eye on for too. Pretty much what you would definitely want to do, like that tank that was just destroyed there, he came down by himself and tried to flank pretty much our whole team. When our whole team was set up here, we had one tank destroyer in the front right there, which is pretty much what I would recommend is maybe having one person who doesn't mind dying, just being out in the front, being the guinea pig, because basically what this is going to happen is you're going to have that team focus fire on that one single front tank destroyer, when basically what can happen then is all your other tank destroyers can start focusing fire on other tanks that are further around, maybe start splitting them up from their group. And it's one of those things where you'll sacrifice one tank destroyer, but you'll be able to split them up. Like here, you had one tank destroyer go to the left, and you had another one go to the right, and you had two stay in the middle. And basically, once you split them up, when our whole team was just sitting there repairing all the tank destroyers, they just basically had no chance once they got split up. And so that's probably the biggest thing here, is just stick together, stick to your team, communicate, just like in any Battlefield 3 thing. You're gonna want to communicate. And this guy too, he was so desperate to try to capture the flag that he ended up putting a spawn beacon and parachuting in towards the flag, which was kind of funny because you have 3 or 4 tank destroyers around it, and he just got absolutely demolished. And so that's something you have to watch out for too. Hopefully you guys like this. I'll have a more updated tank superiority gameplay once I unlock more things too. I almost have my first service star, at least for the tank destroyer, so I'm getting some good experience with it, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and thanks for watching.